Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are all members of the IITA Risk Committee, and this is our Risk Awareness Week, which I hope you're aware.
Yes,
And we're trying to find out how IITA staff are aware of the risks. So we're doing a random question and answer, and you are going to be our first interviewee for today. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Kolo Juliana. This is IITA Water Treatment Plant Laboratory.
Okay, good. Now, do you know what are the top risks that are threatening the ability of this unit from achieving its purpose?
Actually, we deal here with some toxic chemicals like the calcium hypochlorite. And from what I was told, that initially this is toxic to health because when you inhale it, it will affect even your the way you breathe. It affects breathing.
So that's your highest risk,
Yes, ma'am.
working with toxic chemicals.
Yes, ma'am.
How can we mitigate that?
As you can see now, ma, if the lab could be expanded and well ventilated.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For the aspect of your work, can you just say what you consider as the topmost risk for this unit?
We administer drugs, and if peradventure you give the wrong drug to the wrong patient,
Okay.
it's a risk. Then if proper vital sign is not being taken from the patient, can give us a wrong reading.
Okay. And so what are those kind of mitigating plans or maybe actions that you think you have put in place or you plan to put in place?
Yes, we ensure that the proper medication is being given to the patient at the right time.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
My name is Sylvia Oyinlola, and I'm a member of the IITA Risk Management Committee at the headquarters. All right, Mr. Adeoye, my question to you is, if you are to identify the top risk of this unit, what is the topmost risk of this unit right now?
What I will likely say is the people working on the field, they make use of herbicide.
So the one risk you were was exposure to chemicals, and you've mitigated it by giving them protective equipment.
Wares,
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I just have a question for you, and you just be brief as possible. So my question to you will be, what is the topmost risk of this unit?
As far as I know, as regards bioscience, the first thing you do when entering, you are not even supposed to pass through this place without your lab coat. As you're coming in here, you go straight in there to pick your lab coat and before you walk in to do anything.
So whatever risk of having any spillages onto your body and stuff is being mitigated by this rule on the lab coat?
Not really, but it's the first thing you consider.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Now, can you just briefly tell us what you consider as your topmost risk in this unit or even in the aspect of your work?
Ethidium bromide.
Okay. Can you tell us more about that, please?
Ethidium bromide is so carcinogenic, and the effect is not now, it's later in the day, started feeling you have cancer or something like that. And after maybe you've retired working, and every day we are exposed to ethidium bromide and acrylamide. Acrylamide is another dangerous chemical we work with. We use in making page, polyacrylamide gel, which affect your nervous systems, and you won't know until your later day.
So this is a very, very serious risk that you have spotted, and can we know exactly what are the plans or the mitigation actions you have put in place about the risk?
Yeah, for the ethidium bromide, like we're so grateful that today we've changed from using the ethidium bromide this morning on Monday. We changed from using the ethidium bromide to a safer fuel, which is more safer than ethidium bromide. So we are no longer using ethidium bromide from today. On the Akilamai page, we are still using it, but we just need to be very careful when we are doing it. The gloves, we have a special room for it. The glove we use in there, we are not allowed to take it out of those rooms.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. So see you some other time.
Thank you,
My,
sir.
my question to you is, what is the topmost risk of this unit? And what has been put in place to mitigate that risk?
Yeah, the risk we used to experience here is when we are having, maybe we're on duty and supply went off. In most cases, when we are running a here and there, we have to make sure that we consider our entrances, like maybe when we want to go out to the engine room. So we have to make sure that we are very careful, so that during the time of the operation, then we will not fall off or slip off.
So what has been put in place to mitigate for this not to happen? What solution have you for control?
Yeah, you can see that on my feet, I have the safety boots. So if, for example, maybe there's oil spillage and we do not take care of it, in the process of your running up and down, there is that tendency for you to slip off and you will fall. And the time that you're supposed to do your operation and meet up with the supply to the institute, the time will be limited, will not be met.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it.
My name is Ben.
Okay.
I'm the foreman in charge of the fabrication unit.
Okay. What can you say that you consider the topmost risk of your job?
The topmost risk of our job here has to do with electricity shock.
Okay.
Because we deal with AC welding system, and most of the time we may have some leakages, especially with the cable, especially when the welding cable is frayed, is bad, and the welder picks it and then starts to weld. It may have some kind of electrocution that may occur, though the welding plant is built with a kind of system whereby the shock may not be so much, but intermittent shock or small shock can actually aggravate some problems in the future, especially for the individual. That is number one. Then number two is the infrared radiations. The welding method has this infrared radiation that really comes, and to mitigate that, we have to use what we call protective shield. But this shield is recommended by the British standard. We have varieties of that. But sometimes when these shields are in long used, it becomes bad and the vision may not be so good, or sometimes we may have a crack. From that crack, the leakage of this infrared radiation can come to the eye, and this can pose a serious danger to the welders.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ben. Precautions. Like, for example, can you mention something within your operation, particularly in the kitchen, for example, that is a major risk that if you don't take precaution could affect the operation of IITA?
One, I think if you are working in the kitchen and you are not putting on, you are not putting on your safety shoe. You can see me now put on a safety shoe, so it can be the major risk in the working area, which I think all my colleagues are doing. So,
okay. So in terms of regulations, can you say that IITA, particularly the kitchen, now you are keeping to all the regulations, even in the food and that indoor beverages sector of the country?
If you are working in a hotel and kitchen environment, I can say observation industries, definitely that's not how you not take adequate precaution before you can, because you are giving people food from your own hand. They only trust you, and if you don't give them something that they trust, definitely there'll be a problem. So definitely we are taking adequate precaution in our kitchen before we put anything out for them to eat. So that's
okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Shegun. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.